We're live.
Yeah.
We are live.
So some U.S.-based Portuguese consulates have had appointment backlogs lasting more than 4 months, if you can believe that, which means you could be paying rent here in Portugal while still waiting for legal permission to move. Yeah, that's not theoretical. It's not a theoretical problem. That is really happening right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what sparked today's conversation. Because it's daytime where y'all are.
It's nighttime here, y'all, in Lisbon, Portugal. Can you believe we are coming up on our 5th summer here in Lisbon, Portugal? Wasn't that fast? I cannot believe it. I can't believe it. But that's the case. And it's going to be the 4th year that we have an annual meetup. So if you're not coming, how come? You ain't got to be moving to Portugal. Come on, hang out with us and have a ball for our 4th meetup, which is during Juneteenth week. So y'all know we completed Portuguese residency process. We navigated consulates and customs and banking and health insurance, phone transfers, tax registration, health numbers. Y'all, we've also walked hundreds of people through early stage move abroad strategies. And this week, a client situation reminded us that what you don't know can cost you real money. Okay. So we're going to talk about that and a lot more. But first, I'm going to introduce myself. Hey, y'all. My name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, travel, and life abroad. We help folks who look like us, who are getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan. We help you get your money straight so that you can retire on time or maybe even early.
And abroad ain't bad either, y'all.
It's not bad. All right, sweetheart. So what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about what we wish we would have known or knew before moving abroad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So tonight is not a lecture, y'all.
No.
Tonight is a collective lesson. We're going to discuss what we wish we had known, what cost us money, what cost us time, what cost us undue stress, and what was obvious in hindsight.
Yeah.
And we want you to share your stories too, because hindsight is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But community learning is a whole lot cheaper, y'all.
That's right. But first, if you're new to our channel, you may not be aware back in 2018, Rick and I got a wake-up call, y'all. We were getting close to retirement age. We looked at our money, and what did it look like?
Crazy.
It looked crazy, y'all. It looked cray. But we did get our financial act together, and we went from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth. Now, y'all, if we can do that, you can do it too. Okay. So if any of that sounds interesting, what do we need you to do? We need you to subscribe. I don't know what the platform has been doing, but it has been unsubscribing some people from our community. All right. So make sure that you're subscribed, even if you think you are. We are still dedicated to getting 100,000 before our 4th anniversary. What's going on? Video is frozen.
Frozen.
Screen is messing up bad. Okay, let's see what's going on. Audio is good. Screen is frozen, which is interesting because we're not getting any kind of...
Yeah, plenty of internet.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Why did that happen? Oh, my gosh. Okay, sorry, y'all. I can't see what's going on. Let me see. One sec. Okay. Bear with us while we try to figure this out and make sure. Okay, how are we looking now? Oh, thank you, Cape Fall. Happy 4th anniversary.
Thank you.
Let us know how things are going right now, right? Yeah, we are still dedicated to getting 100,000 subscribers before our 4th anniversary, which is at the end of March. Rick is going to log in on his phone. So help some folks out. Share this information. Hit that thumbs up and that notification bell twice so that you know every single time that we go live or still frozen. Sound is great. The video is off. Okay, that's weird. Let's see what's going on. It says we're connected.
Yeah, we have internet.
It says we're connected. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna be right back.
Mhm. Are we still frozen, you guys? Is it okay? It's okay?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's very fuzzy and frozen and stuff like that.
I don't understand why.
I don't understand why either.
I tested it. Speed test was good.
So I'm gonna do something to make sure. Are we recording this? Let's see. Recording in progress. All right. So we are recording it. Hopefully, when we re-upload it, it's going to be clear. Now we're using this third party called StreamYard, and it supposedly.
I'm wondering if it went to because of Substack shouldn't have did anything to it.
Oh,
Because we are going to Substack, but
that shouldn't have changed anything. That should not have changed anything. I'm sorry, y'all. And the VPN is off. So, the melon fella's trying to stop the show.
it's like, wow.
I don't know what's going on, y'all. I do not know what's going on. Hopefully, it's going to clear up. It looks like we are simulcasting on Substack. If you're watching us from Substack, hey, hopefully it's clear over there. I don't know. I can go over there and see. I have no idea what's going on. But if you guys can hear us, then we're going to continue the conversation and hopefully it will clear up. Okay. I don't want to restart it. We can go out and come back in. Why don't we do that right quick? We'll just go out and come right back in. Be right back.
Nah.
I don't know, y'all. How's it looking now? We can hear you fine. I hate this. I
don't have
I can hear it in there. Okay. All right. I'm going to let him get that. And let's just say hello to some folks who are in the chat, and then we will get to the meat of the thing. Because here's the thing, y'all. What I realized is we were talking to Action VJ the other day, and this is, we were talking about some of the things that that the channel members talk about behind the scenes. So if you're not a member of Our Black Utopia, then you might not know that before we go live, we have we chitty chat for about an hour before the show starts behind the scenes while we're getting ready, and it's very informing and actually is instructive in things that we need to talk about because sometimes you forget not knowing, right? You forget not knowing what you didn't know before you knew it. You know what I'm saying? As I said, this is our fifth summer. And so one of the folks that we were talking to, well, I'm not going to get into it too much because we're going to get into it as we go on, but all of the things, if you are thinking about moving abroad, all of the things that all of the moving parts, we're going to put this all together so that none of the little details are forgotten. And I'm going to take notes because some of this stuff I'm going to add to the Move Abroad Toolkit, especially about getting residency in a state with low taxes. I thought that was in the Move Abroad Toolkit actually, but I'm going to make sure. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to stick around, okay? Because being an American, especially for Americans, being an American and talking about moving abroad, it's blacked out now. Are you freaking kidding me? But the audio is great. I don't know, y'all. Anyway, if you're talking about moving abroad, And I'm gonna do something right quick. I might have to go out and come back in and see if that helps. But anyway, and you're talking about moving abroad. If you're an American, no matter where you go, y'all know this, right? No matter where you go in the world, you are going to have to file taxes. You have tax liability as an American, no matter where you live in the world, unless you denounce citizenship, right? And who wants to do that? It's costly. You have to pay taxes on everything that is in a tax advantage account, right? Besides the fees and everything else. So it's a costly endeavor unless you don't have anything in a tax advantage account, but it's a costly endeavor to say the least. All right. I'm going to see if am I still blacked out, unbothered by technical issues with the video. Thank you guys. You all, the Utopians you guys are so gracious, and we appreciate you so much. I really do. So if I'm still frozen and fuzzy, but audio is great. That was a minute ago. All right. Okay. I'm going to leave the studio and then I'm going to come back in and see if that helps. Is that any better? We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. Mexico just killed the head of cartel. Oh, really? Violence is breaking out and we are being advised to stay off the roads. Oh, wow. Now that's a first. Okay. I don't know what's going on. It looks like it's still freezing. It looks like it's still freezing, but we're going to keep it moving. And I don't think undoing Substack will help. I don't think that's the thing.
Me either.
I don't think that's the thing. But we're just gonna keep it moving. All right, y'all. Let me see if we can get back to where we were. Oh, good. This is still in here. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. So I'm going to get to the first things because we are so delayed. I'm going to get to the first thing that we noticed that we actually started the show talking about. And then we will say hello to all of the Utopians who are in the chat. Okay. So the first thing, did we do the engagement? We didn't even do the engagement, did we? Did we talk about that? No, we didn't. All right. So let's put this in the chat. If you're watching from the future, hey y'all, I'm sorry about all the technical difficulties. Thank you for for sticking with us and being gracious and showing us grace. We so appreciate it. What part of the move abroad process has you the most nervous? A, is it the consulate visa timing? B, is it money cash flow? C, is it healthcare? D, is it banking? E, is it housing? Or F, if it's something else. And if it's something else, let us know in the chat what it is, okay? Let us know in the chat. And if you've already moved, for those of you who have already moved, type first, put a Q in front of it, right? So that we can find it. Type my oops was, and then fill in the blank. My oops was, what did you learn in your move that you're like, oh, dang, I wish I would have known that. So what we're doing is we're building a real-time playbook today, all right? A real-time playbook so that all of you who are in the process can learn from our mistakes, right? Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe how much I did. I just did that. Okay. I just did that. So it be helping nor hurting. All right. So the first thing is the timing of the visa, the timing of your consulate appointment and all of that. Now, it depending upon what the requirements are, it can be very important or not as important. It just depends on what they need and when that stuff runs out, like when it expires. So for instance, a lot of countries require you to have a FBI background check. All right. And the FBI background check expires after a certain period of time. I believe it's 4 months. Excuse me. And so if you're not, obviously, if you're not planning to have your appointment at the visa place until like May, and you're getting your background check today, depending upon when it returns, and they're pretty fast. And, I don't think that's changed yet. So they're pretty fast. So based upon that, it could be expired before you have your appointment. Okay. And so now you got to pay again. Now that's not a huge cost. Rick and I had to do it twice because the original plan changed. So it is what it is. That was a small cost. I want to say at the time, maybe about $20 per person. So instead of paying $40, we paid $80. I don't like wasting money, but it couldn't be. It could not be. It could have been avoided. I panicked. That's what happened. I was like, we got to get out of here. And I panicked. And I started doing things out of order. That's what happened. So I wasted money. But for here in Portugal, you have to have a 1-year lease prior to your appointment at the consulate or at the embassy or at VFS or whatever, the administrator. That VFS is the administrator that works for some of the consulates. Okay. You need to have a 1-year lease prior to that. Now, think about that. That means you are paying rent in a place that you are not living in. And you don't know when you're going to be able to live there. So that's one thing. Because even if, like for Rick and I, when we 4 years ago, right, we got our appointment pretty quickly. It was very easy, but that was 4 years ago. And I think they called our immigration people, reached out to the consulate the first week in July. We had our appointment the first week in August. No harm, no foul. So we had a month to find an apartment. Nowadays, those appointments are hard to come by in some of the consulates. People have been waiting, as Rick said at the beginning, 3, 4, and 5 months trying to get an appointment. If you know this, or if you know to ask, then it behooves you not to try and get an apartment until after you get your appointment. The appointment is never going to be less than a month away. So that gives you a month. And if you've already been kind of looking, or you already know the neighborhoods that you're interested in, that narrows it down and makes it easier. And yes, you may have to, especially for Portugal, move into a place sight unseen. Not totally sight unseen. So for us, as you know, and there's lots of people who do this, we had someone video the apartment as he was seeing it, we were seeing it, right? And so they were FaceTiming us or whatever, Google video call, whatever he was doing, as he was walking up the stairs and entering the apartment, the whole 9 yards, okay? And so we saw the apartment as he saw the apartment. We saw the landlord, he saw us. And so even though we had never stepped foot in this apartment, we still knew basically what it looked like. And we basically knew what the general neighborhood looked like. Once we had the address, then I do what I do, and I Google walked around the neighborhood. So I pretty much knew what the neighborhood looked like before we moved here. And of course, what the apartment looked like. These are some of the things that can make you feel uncomfortable, but I'm going to tell you, like for one of our Utopians, she's still trying to get an appointment, and my heart breaks. So we've given her some pointers. So here's the thing, y'all. And this is what, because there's always creative solutions. There's always creative solutions. With Portugal, you have to go to the consulate that is assigned to the state where you have residency. But you could change residencies, and it doesn't take that much depending upon the state. So that's an idea. If you have legal residency in another country, you can apply from that other country. So like Rick and I have legal permanent residency in Mexico. So we could have applied for residency from Mexico. It was just that we were doing it both at the same time. So it was obviously easier to just do it from the United States. But that's an idea. And they're not having those same hiccups with not getting appointments and stuff in Mexico or in Canada or in the UK, right? And all these other places. It's just 3 or 4 consulates in the United States that are having this hiccup. The only way you can know these things is to be in groups, to ask questions from other people who have moved abroad, which is why we have the Utopian community, right? And to make sure that you know the questions to ask your whoever's helping you, okay? Because again, sometimes they forget not knowing. We all sometimes forget not knowing, right? So, what else? Like why people feel pressured? Yeah. And it's real easy to feel pressure to lock something in. You hear all this stuff, the prices are going up, everybody's coming and they're gentrifying, blah, 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 right? And you panic like I did. And then you spend money unnecessarily. All right. And so I remember, I want to say this was probably about 2 years ago, we had some clients. And I think they're here now, as a matter of fact. Everybody that we've helped has moved here. Some people moved to Mexico, some people moved to Panama, some people moved to Colombia. Okay, so everybody doesn't move to Portugal. But hubby had a spreadsheet, y'all, and it was all color-coded and timed. You remember that? Mm-hmm. He had the time. He made my little organizational skills look cray, okay? Because brother man had everything. Okay, this is going to happen here, and then this is going to happen here, and we've got this loan, and then one line was the decluttering that went 3 to 4 months, and then we're going to put it on the house on the market, and yada yada yada. It may seem anal, but if it will save you money in the long run, take the time to do things like that. Okay. All right. Let's see what you guys are talking about. And then we'll say hello. Allison has spreadsheets. Hey, I am not mad at you. I need a plan. And so I did not have spreadsheets, but I did have a list. I had a checkoff list. I had different pages in my digital journal for different things that had to happen. Like y'all know, I had to get my dad situated in assisted living and things like that. So I had the list for that, what I needed to do for my mom, what we needed to do for the move, what we needed to do for both the condo and the house, y'all. I understand it can be overwhelming. I understand. Okay. But it's worth it. It's worth it. Benita says, we blew through money until Halisi and Rick referred us to Start Abroad. We will put our link to Start Abroad in the description below after we let y'all go. Okay, so in an hour or so. Okay, let's go all the way to the top. Let's go all the way to the top and see who's okay. So A. Lee was the first one in. Somebody else that was in. Oh, you know what? I might have lost some of the chat. I'm sorry. When we left the studio and came back in, we lost some of the chat. So I lost the people who were here earlier. I'm sorry, y'all. Hey, Shanora, good to see you. Allison is in the house. We've got Greta is in the house, JC Love Life, Venus Kirby, Share Joy. We've got Paula Washington, Action VJ. Are we still frozen? Let us know. Crystal's in the house, CK, Benita, of course, Shara J, Teresa Martin, Cape Fall. Yes, it's still frozen for me, but that was quite a while ago. Sarah, Paula. Okay, I'm going to skip all the way down to the end and see what you guys are talking about. So we are completely overwhelmed. It's really easy to get overwhelmed, y'all. Okay. It is really easy to get overwhelmed. So when you think about the order of operation, what you need to do first, and again, we offer one-on-one coaching. We can help you through this. Also, get our Move Abroad Toolkit, y'all. Get the Move Abroad Toolkit because that can help you. Yeah, that is, I want to know more about that, Gwen and Derek.
What's that?
The cartel thing. Would you get the rent money back if you're not approved in Portugal? No. See, that's the thing. That's the thing, Wanda. You have to want Portugal. You have to want it. You have to want it. And I, and it's not for everybody. But I have to say, for me, there is no other place that I've been that I'd rather live than here so far, from where we've been. And there's some places that would come close, but then there's the thing of the proximity to the United States as long as my mom's alive. So, so for right now, there's no other place that I'd rather live. And, now, on the other hand, the law here in Portugal is that you only have to fulfill 1/3 of a rental agreement. I don't know if that's for all contracts or just rental contracts. Okay. So that means you're only on the hook for 4 months. And that's probably how long it takes them to give you an answer. Now, depending upon which consulate you go to, it depends on how they're going to handle that. For Rick and myself at the time, what we did is we told the consulate that we were going to be traveling, so we had to keep our passports, and we gave them extra money to FedEx the passports back to us once our visa was approved. So once we were done, I booked the tickets. I booked the tickets back to Portugal in September because we decided we wanted to be back before Rick's birthday. And so we booked the tickets. And we came back here on our tourist visa, which I think at that point had reset because we went to get residency in Mexico. Then we had to go to our consulate meeting. Then we had to pack up the house and get rid of everything. And then we came back. So it probably reset a new tourist visa. And then we didn't get an answer. So our appointment was August 4th. We did not get an answer until the end of October, y'all. We've told this story 100 times, but and so September, I was like, okay, we're going back. And we moved into our apartment on the tourist visa. And when we got our answer, we shipped our passports back to California. There's a little process to do that. And they put the visas in it and they shipped them back. It's a 2-step process. But anyway, so that's how that worked. Now, every consulate doesn't allow you to do that. Does not allow you to do that. So it just depends. But yeah. So, look, you really got to want Portugal, as I said. What if you have global entry clearance? You can have those in participating countries too. No, global entry is just for the United States. There's no, I haven't seen, is there like a fast track? The only fast track thing that I've seen is for first class and business class passengers. Have you seen anything?
No.
Like clear or?
No.
No, because look, half the time, the security in other countries, they don't operate like in the United States, y'all. Okay. They do not operate. They are not assuming that you're a culprit. This is probably like my 5th water bottle because at least 2 or 3 have been taken away by airport security in the United States because I forgot I had water in it. Here in Europe, they either pour it out and swab it, or they don't pour it out and they swab the outside of it and then give it back. No harm, no foul. Here's your water bottle. I have not had to throw it away since leaving the United States. See, so you unless you're traveling peak time, you really don't need that. So yeah. We've been paying a lease since October, and we won't be there until the end of May, but we know after the first year we'll recoup. Oh, ouch, ouch, ouch. That hurts. I would have to come, stay in here for a few months, and then go back home. And we know people who have done that, actually. Another friend of ours, she actually got her apartment before she made her appointment. But see, back in those days, you could get appointments a lot easier, a lot more easy. And she would have had to go to one of the consulates that's having issues. But she came here, got her apartment, bought a car, and stayed for as long as her tourist visa would allow. Then she went back for her daughter's wedding to pack up her house and everything else. And then she had her appointment and came back. And so her house was still sitting empty, but at least she did get to live in it for a while and get it all situated and get the furniture and all of that stuff. So she was going back to her home, which does make it easier than going back to an empty house, right? So, okay, let's see what else. What else are you guys talking about before we move on? Coordinating my banking, taxes, and healthcare while slow traveling. For the first 12 months of living abroad, mail, pension USA, pension payments, and managing mail in the US, y'all. So if you are using a mail service, let us know the brand, what the company name of the mail service, especially if they're a nationwide mail service, for those of you who are already living abroad. Because yeah, we've been fortunate so far because our stuff goes to our house in Denver. Our youngest is still living there. And so that kind of makes things a little bit easier, but that's not going to be forever. And so we're already looking at mail services. So we're probably going to be doing that in the next couple of months. So yeah, it's a lot. And then you also have to think about where, and we talked about this last week, where your Social Security or your pension is going to get deposited to. You want to be careful with that. I suggest you leave the deposits in your US bank. Now, there's a couple of visas that want you to deposit your pension or your Social Security in their banks. And that's fine. But keep in mind, the minute that the United States is not friends with that country, there can be issues. It's not guaranteed that there would be issues, but there could be issues. Okay, so Angie, baby, I'm not sure what you were talking about. Ask again, please. I was getting coffee. You'll have to repeat the question. You will have to repeat the question. Unless you were talking about all of the choices for what you were most nervous about. I'm not sure. All right. I think that might be it. Global entry, we answered that. Yeah, that rent money thing, it's something. It is something else. But, we have such, I don't know, we just have such a great community here that, oh, look. So once I had my spreadsheet, thanks to ChatGPT, okay? Use AI, y'all. I hate saying that. We can use AI and still force the government to make sure that these data centers are finding a way to keep this stuff cool without using up all of our water and polluting so much. If they can figure out how to build a bunker on Mars, the MFs, then they can figure out how to do this the right way. They're just being lazy, just like ChatGPT is lazy. So, but yeah, it's a good place to start. It really is a good place to start. And it will design the spreadsheet for you. So all you got to do is copy and paste it into Google Sheets or Excel, whatever you're using. So, so yeah. Oh, thank you, Greta, talking about the Ready to Retire Toolkit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me see. All right, let's see what else. Action VJ put the Move Abroad Toolkit is in the chat. Thank you, Rapper MD. You're so sweet. I highly recommend the coaching. Just having a confident team like Halisi and Rick lifts the pressure off of your shoulders. Look, we do not have to do this alone, y'all. Okay? We really don't. Take the shortcut. Don't buy into that rugged individualism, I'll figure it out on my own nonsense that, white supremacists like to, that's fruit of the slavery tree. That's what that is. They just want to keep us always behind the 8 ball because there's always going to be something that we don't know and there's a good chance that somebody in our community does know, so take the shortcuts. By Pacific Northwest says Mexican federal forces killed El Mencho, the head of the Jalisco New Generation cartel this morning. Cities in Jalisco, which is a Jalisco state. Well, I think that's a border state. They're on red alert, so locked it down. STEP sent a notice as well. Oh, interesting. So STEP is the government system that expats, I guess, should register. Or actually, even when you travel, it's like the State Department website where you can register that you're traveling so that they know you're abroad. I don't feel so comfortable doing that anymore with these people. You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't trust them. And I think if they know how many of us are abroad, they'll try even harder to make it harder for us to vote. That's what I think. Am I being paranoid? Tell me if I'm being paranoid. Does in-country time start with the rental lease, the visa approval, arrival in country, or receipt of residency card? DK, you're such an attorney. So it depends on what you mean by in-country time. When talking about Portugal and when you become a tax resident of Portugal, it's once you get your residency card, basically. And I say basically because it depends on what else you're doing. If you're retired, it basically depends that it happens then. Why? Because that's when you're actually registered. Technically, if you are doing business here or something like that, you could become a tax resident as soon as you've been in country for a certain amount of time. Does time say? So as far as citizenship goes, or that time, that starts from the moment you got your yes on your visa. Okay. And so once you are out of the United States longer than 6 months, you are no longer, I believe it's still 6 months, you are no longer a tax resident of the United States. And so at that point, you become a tax resident of another place. So you got to be a tax resident somewhere, unfortunately. So hopefully that answers all of your questions. Now they keep us our passport until you're approved. Benita, are you going to Cali? Because different consulate, you guys, different consulates do different things. Okay. So don't assume that just because somebody said what Benita is saying, that that's true for all 8 consulates and embassies for Portugal in the United States. Every consulate gets to do whatever the heck they want to do, y'all. And it's not just Portugal. It's not just Portugal. We ran into that with Mexico as well. Okay. So it's like they have their main requirements that everybody has to adhere to. And then they do little idiosyncrasies. Okay. That's what they do. So just like I said, there's 3 or 4 of the consulates that are only releasing one appointment per day. So 30 appointments per month. That's it. All the rest of them are working as normal. Why? I don't know. It makes no sense. Okay. But that's what's going on. So, obviously, there are a lot more people who want to leave the United States now than did 3 to 4 years ago when Rick and I left back in 2022. Do you have to have round trip flights at the time of your application? Yes, you do. So this is for Portugal. We obviously did not have to have that for Mexico, but we did have to have it for Portugal, and we just did a flight, took a screenshot of it, printed it out, then canceled it. That's what we did. Okay. Actually, our immigration person did that for us. I don't even think we had to do it if I remember correctly. And I know she didn't pay for no flight. Okay. She included that in the packet, and that's a good reason to have an immigration person, right? We will put all of that information, all of our immigration people, specialists that we suggest in the description after the live is over. All right, we are only on the first one, and it's 40 minutes. We did have some technical issues though. Okay. Well, I've taken the leap to teach English abroad. Yay. Congratulations. To assist with my move. Yes. Depending on the need, my top 3 countries of choice are Portugal, Thailand, and Vietnam. Lovely, lovely, lovely choices. Very different choices, but not so much. I mean, when you're in the city, well, Portugal's just old. Okay. It's just a lot older. Not that Vietnam and Thailand are not old, but the old stuff is very Thai looking or Vietnamese looking, right? Whereas Portugal it's what we're used to seeing, right? The European old look. And it's old, y'all. And the stuff that's that old, usually in those countries, are temples and things like that. They're so beautiful. But the housing and things like that that you would want to move into is generally a lot newer than what we have here in Portugal. We have new stuff in Portugal too, but you want to live in the city center, you live in something that's a little bit older. So really, really happy for you. Can't wait to hear all about it. All right. I am going to move on. And I'm going to mark this so I know where we stop. Okay. So the second thing, and we've been talking about moving money, de-dollarization, and all of this stuff for the beginning of the year, really, right?
Yes.
And, we know that the value of the dollar is going down, and it's going to continue to go down. And Lord, help us if we do not have a 2026 midterm election, because then it's all over. So if you are not trying to figure out what you're going to do to protect yourself in case these people, like Chuckles, who's in the Senate, and Jeffries, neither one of them, they have the spine of an octopus. If they allow this ban to try to federalize these elections, or if they do some hinky winky stuff, like pass that SAVE Act, or start posting ICE all around the polling places, of course, just where we live, right? And try to stop, mail-in ballots, it's over, y'all. It is over. It's already bad enough. This is how bad it is. Here in Europe, France has decided no longer to use Zoom or Google Spaces because the FCC or Trump or somebody said some bullshit about France and tried to force Zoom and Google Spaces to restrict the French government's usage and or implant stuff to listen or whatever. I don't know, but they're like, you know what? We're just not going to do business. Our government is not going to do business with the United States companies anymore if you're going to try to hold us hostage. Of course, that's what Trump does. And France is not the only one. I want to say Germany is also in there, and maybe it's either Norway or the Netherlands or something like that. And there's probably a few more that are thinking about it. Okay. And so they're through. I think Germany's given up Microsoft. And And so my question is, okay, well, what are you going to use? Because maybe then we'll invest in that. But just think about that. Think about that. These companies, Microsoft, these companies that seem to be too big to fail. And now, because of the hinky stinky stuff that Trump has been doing, using the federal government as his personal weapon against anybody who hurts his little feelings. He's such a titty baby. He's such a titty baby. Oh my gosh. And so what is it doing? The same tech bros who put his stupid behind up in there and sat behind him at the inauguration are now getting hurt, which means our 401ks and our stock portfolios are getting hurt as well. Yeah. So that leads us into the second thing about the money. Okay. One of the things that I wish we would have known about and done more research, and I already knew that there's issues when you are traveling extensively abroad, et cetera, when it comes to your investment accounts. But I did not know that a Schwab global account existed. And had I, we would have done that before we left. That we would have opened that up from the gate. So if you don't know what a Schwab global account is, we really explained it a couple of videos ago, but basically it allows you to have multiple currencies. And it also allows you more access to global investments, right? To other stock exchanges. All right. And so for those two reasons alone, I needs me one of these. And and it's always easier to do it while you're in country. Now, because we already have a Schwab account, I'm hoping that we can do it all over the phone. So we're going to make that happen in the next couple of weeks. But you want to make sure that all of your banking, we were just talking about this, right? All of your banking is set up to handle the lifestyle that you will have, whether you're going to be a nomadic, or whether you are going to do half in another place and half in the United States, whatever, or totally leave. Either way it goes, you want to make sure that you've got all of your banking stuff in order, and also figure out what they need for double authentication. I really wish the banks would start using authenticator apps as opposed to texting you and stuff like that, because people can clone phones, and then some banks don't allow you to log in with a VPN. That's also dangerous. So the United States is so far behind the rest of the world when it comes to this stuff, because I never have these issues logging into our Portuguese bank. I just never have these issues. But these are things that you need to think about, right? And all of this creates unnecessary friction. What I did know, and what we did know, and that because it's in the Move Abroad Toolkit, is that a Fidelity or a Schwab account will allow you to get your cash out from wherever you are without incurring ATM fees. They will reimburse you for those. They'll reimburse you for any conversion fees, right? And so then all you have to worry about is the conversion rate. So any foreign transaction fees will be reimbursed, okay? Now, there's always address requirements. Address. What is your street address? That kind of address, not to address something. We were talking about this with all of the Utopian channel members before we went live in our behind the scenes. If you're not a channel member, you can support the channel by becoming a member and hang out with us an hour before we go live and chitty chat. We were talking about mail services and how to establish residency and what will suffice for an address with some of these banks. Okay. I don't know what will suffice for every single bank in the United States. So let's have you guys, for those of you who have moved, tell us about some of the requirements or what you did. Again, as I said, we use our address of our Denver house, but we're going to be using a mail service, right? And I want to make sure that the mail service has a street address. So that's one thing. Opening up stuff when you're still stateside, just believe me, it really helps. If you can use a family member's address. So one of the things that Action VJ said is, for the mail service, if you can use somebody's physical home address, a family member, very, very, very close friend. Nothing's going to go to their house, but the mail service will have that address as a backup. And so when the banks see it and stuff like that, hopefully that will minimize friction. And you say, look, I travel a lot. I want to make sure I have a mail service. Da 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 da. Okay. So and get this straight with your banks ahead of time. You don't want to be 2,000 miles away in a whole different time zone, especially if you're going to Thailand or Vietnam or someplace like that. It's still freezing, huh? Especially that. And then you got to wake up in the middle of the night or something like that to make a call. You don't want that kind of stress. You do not want that kind of stress. Okay, what have you guys done? If you are already out of the United States, what did you guys do with your banking? Let us know. If you're watching from the future, let us know in the comments. As I said, we are going to crowdsource this. Rick is still trying to figure out the technology. That's why he's been looking off to the side and it's been so quiet. Oh, interesting. So Rapper MD is saying in Panama, your lawyer or immigration attorney holds on to a passport until your appointment. I made a copy of my important page and the stamp entry page. Ooh, like our appointment here in Portugal, like I said, we got an answer like October 25th, 2022. Our appointment wasn't until June 2023, y'all. So,
you know what? I had a question. What if I log in from your computer into the studio?
Okay.
See if that.
Yeah, it could
be my computer.
Yeah, we're going to see if it's his computer or if it's my computer. So, yeah, no, get the computer. All right, let's keep answering these questions. Did any of you use the YouTube video circulating about how dangerous Portugal is because of African immigrants and Muslims? Benita, who made the video? Right? First of all, there is no place in Portugal, or I'm just going to say Lisbon, but I know because Lisbon is the biggest city, right? There's no neighborhood here that is more dangerous than a semi-safe neighborhood in the United States. Okay, let's not get it twisted. Even in like Amadora, which they say is dangerous in this, we've walked through these neighborhoods. They cannot, okay, now for white folks, maybe it's dangerous. I don't know. But for us, and we walked through Martin Moniz at night, which is like 80% men, 80% immigrants to Portugal, brown, right? Talking about black folks and brown folks, right? Black and brown folks from Africa and from, some Southeast Asian country. Nada. Okay. Now, in the past year to 2 years, there have been, I want to say 3 or 4 gun incidents. 3 or 4 total. Because once something happens, we hear like a screen is still frozen. Oh my God. We're working on it, y'all. Hopefully you can still hear me okay. Once it happens, all of our WhatsApp groups start lighting up. Okay. And so we know when anything happens. Okay.
I can't tell if I'm freezing up or anything, but I'm on your.
I can't tell either. So if we want to switch,
ask them if am I freezing up? Am I moving okay?
Okay, yeah. So we might move to another computer. So great. You can hear us just fine.
Can they see me?
So let us know it's fixed. Rick is not frozen.
Okay.
Okay, but I am freezing. Halisi, wow. Okay, so it's this computer. All right. So we're going to bring the other computer in here. Put the sound on mute, Rick, so that we don't get that feedback. So, Alaska, you ain't got to call Rick, sir. Halisi is still freezing. Okay. Wow. Okay, so maybe it's this computer. Hold on while we transfer stuff. This is called guerrilla filmmaking. Where's the?
So are you plugged in?
Where's the microphone?
Microphone's in this.
Yeah. Okay, let's turn that off. Wrong one. I removed the wrong one, y'all. Okay. All right. Is this better? Behind the scenes, for real, for real. Okay. Yeah, stand by for technical difficulties. Exactly. Okay. Are we okay? Is it better? Now you're good. Okay.
The only thing you don't have the scripts.
It's in here.
Oh,
So, all right, let me get back to what we were talking about. Let's see. Okay. Close that because I can hear that other one. Where's the comments? Okay, where were we at? We're getting my husband's birth certificate. Okay. We're getting my husband's birth certificate now because Ohio is slow. That's where he was born. Yes, that's another thing. Thank you, Allison. Marriage certificates, birth certificates, they might have to be apostilled. Check to make sure that how long the apostille is good for. Okay, an apostille basically is a notary that the government does. Okay, so it's a notary for the government. The government has to basically say, yes, this is an official birth certificate. Yes, this is an official marriage certificate, et cetera, et cetera. If you had a destination wedding, it could be harder to get that marriage certificate. Start now, right? If you got married in Jamaica or Aruba or someplace like that, you might be having issues. Excuse me, sweetheart. Okay, so yeah, I didn't see. Okay, back to the immigrants and all of that stuff. Y'all, I would say that most places are safer than the United States because most places have strict gun laws. Okay. And even with what Derek and Gwen said about what's happening in Jalisco with the cartel, this is the first time we've heard of this happening since 2020, since the whole time that we have been researching Mexico. Okay. But how many mass shootings have we had in the United States? Right. So let's keep things in perspective, especially those of you who are in the United States and are watching them chase babies, 5th grade babies down the street, right? ICE, right? So folks want to hate. I'm going to bring my passport, voter card, marriage license, and birth certificate when we vote tomorrow. See, that's a damn shame. That's a poll tax. That's the poll tax, y'all. And we need to behave as if it is a poll tax. Okay? For real, for real. Here, let me close out some stuff just to be on the safe side. For real, we need to act like it's a poll tax. all the stuff in the SAVE Act is some poll tax nonsense. And so call your senators. I don't care if you believe that they are going to vote the right way. They need to know that you have their back if they're already voting the right way. If they are, especially if they are up for re-election in 2026, you really should call them. They need to hear from you regardless of their party affiliation, and let them know that this is disenfranchisement, and that especially you're going to disenfranchise the military. Really? That's what you guys are fixing to do? So let them know. Let them know. Allison, hopefully you're voting for Jasmine Crockett. I think you're in Texas. I can't remember. I hope that sister wins. I really, really do. All right, I'm trying to force quit some stuff, y'all. Hold on. We cannot let this happen again. I don't know what's happening. It might be time for new computers. It might be time. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right. I've closed everything down. I heard inconsistent info, which indicated that a lease makes one a tax resident. I would talk to a tax person. Okay. If you need to talk to our tax person, CK, send us an email. Yeah, I unless the tax person tells me, and that was not that, and things change. Here's the thing. Their tax laws change every year, just like United States tax laws change every year or so. So what was true when we came may not be the case today. Okay, so we can put the flights on hold and take a picture and cancel once we print it off. Yep. Exactly. That's exactly what we did. We did not buy our, see, that's another thing. It's like, who comes up with this stuff? All of this stuff was not necessary before. And it's obvious that they're just trying to put hurdles to make sure that you really, really want to move here. But how does it make sense to buy a round trip ticket when you can't even guarantee me that I'm going to have an answer before that ticket is up? Make that make sense. So yeah, it's goofy because it's like I'm not investing all of this time and money and they're not going to go. Duh. Right? Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you for the super sticker, super chat money. As you know, every single penny that is donated to our Black Utopia goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling, which is our financial freedom program for late bloomers. Okay. Everything that we learned to get from negative 22,000 in net worth to 1.1 million in net worth is in that program. And it comes with monthly group coaching. So, I know I've got some people in the queue as far as scholarships go, and I will be going through those in the next week, y'all. Okay. Just trying to let the last batch of people have a chance to register to see if they are still interested. Okay. So we talked about the timing of when you do things. And then we've also talked about banking and things like that, and how we wish we would have opened up that Schwab bank account beforehand. Here's another thing, and this has to do with document timing and things like that. So when we got here, we had some things shipped. We had a lot of things shipped, actually. And I kind of knew we were supposed to pay some taxes on it, but there's just so many moving parts that I totally forgot. And so because we did things out of order and we did not wait until we had an answer, we did not get the form from the consulate letting the Immigration and Customs know that that we were moving, or that we needed that form so that we would not get charged. So we did get charged. So this is more money. Okay, the money's adding up. The money is adding up. So that was more money that we had to pay. One, because we didn't want to wait, right? And two, we might have been able to get something, perhaps, had we talked to, like, I didn't even ask my immigration person. She didn't mention it either. She knew we were moving into a furnished apartment, so maybe that's why she didn't mention it. I don't know. But what I do know is our stuff got stopped at customs. We had stuff shrink wrapped. It was opened. It was pawed through. Nothing was missing. We did have a I had a complete inventory list with, 5 shirts, men's shirts, 3 pairs of pants, all whatever. We had everything was marked. So I know that nothing was missing. But we did have to pay some customs taxes.
It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad, but every penny adds up. All right, every penny adds up, and that was for us. You might have more stuff. You may have heavier stuff. If it's electronics or something, do not ship that stuff. Do not ship electronics. First of all, it's probably not going to arrive in one piece unless you're having it on professional movers and they understand, but it's just not worth it when you can get stuff here or wherever you're going. And it's probably going to be less expensive, and it might even be better. Yeah, because America's kind of behind technologically, which is crazy to think about when half the crap that we're using was originally invented in the United States. But it's kind of behind, y'all. It really, really is. It really is. When I see the level of security that this bank here has on our accounts, it's on another level. It is on another level. So cameras, laptops, and things like that, yeah, bring those with you. And that way you don't have to worry about them asking, is this brand new, or anything like that. That's what you don't want, because they allow you to bring your used stuff. And that's no problem. So they did call us and say, so are you moving here? What is all of this shit? Towels and sheets and, cups and silverware, flatware, and all of that kind of stuff. They're like, what is all of this stuff? So, yeah. All right. What else are you guys talking about? Okay, we go down here. What have you found to be difficult in renting property in the U.S. while living in Portugal? Renting our property out in the U.S.? I'd say the biggest thing, I think it helps if you already have your vendors, tested vendors, right? Handyman and people like that at your disposal, right? That you've already built a relationship with. Because we thought we had that in Denver, but they started tripping. and then our plumber disappeared. So then we had to find somebody new, in LA, I got a friend of mine from high school, is a real estate investor. And so she has a crew of folks at her disposal. So I'm very, very fortunate to have access to her people in LA. And then my cousins and stuff all still live there as well. So like some of the people who helped us redo our condo and all of that came from family members who had them in their house, updating kitchens and things like that. So that helps. If we did not have those people, it would be tough. The other thing is dealing with the time difference, okay? Because you want to be responsive, right? But when, like, you know, I think I told y'all when we were, I know I've told y'all, I don't know if Cape Fall, if you were there back in these days, but when we went to Thailand, right before we left or as we were leaving, we found out that our furnace in our condo was not working. It was broke. And so Thailand is like 16 hours ahead of California.
Yeah, it was a day.
It was yesterday. Like, I'm calling people in California and it's yesterday. That's how far ahead Thailand was. So that can be nerve-wracking because you're trying to communicate. And so what I had to do is let the vendors know that I had this, renter in there, and here is their information, but send the bill here and, text me, and then I will, transfer the money, yada, yada. But, that's been the most, we've had to get a new oven in the house and the other house and stuff like that. And so then, kind of having to work with your tenants so that, because you don't know their schedule, right? And so it's that piece. What helps is that we have group text with both houses. So there's the Denver group text with those tenants, and then the LA group text with those tenants. And so when they text, we both get it. And when we text, they both get it. And so that also helps. But is more than a notion, y'all. Is more than a notion, I'm gonna say. And again, I kind of wish we would have sold our Denver house before we moved. I still don't understand what the tax implications are going to be with that. So we're dealing with that. I grew up in North Richmond, California. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. That's just some dumbass conservative from Ireland who saw one homeless person and classified everyone as drug addicts. Oh my God. I guess you're talking about the video that Portugal is supposed to be dangerous or something like that. Look, there are plenty of unhoused people who do not have houses here. And yes, some of them are probably on something. And still, I have not seen the kind of aggressiveness here from the unhoused population as I've seen in downtown Denver. That's for damn sure. I used to work downtown, and I remember seeing a homeless person. He had a piece of PVC pipe, and he was chasing somebody down the street with it. I don't know what that person said, but okay. There is just an undercurrent of angst and anger in the United States that I do not feel in other countries. Do you agree?
I totally agree.
Right?
I was reading something today, and it might be a little bit off topic, about Chega is trying to put new rules in for the police here in the PSD or whatever.
Right.
And so the police here, they cannot pull their weapons and shoot you just for anything. They can't do it. They go to jail for real. And they were trying to make it to where, somebody had a pipe or something coming at a police officer that he could shoot them. And the parliament said no. They weren't changing the laws for them to do that. I was like, yeah, that's scary. Because in the U.S., if you look at them wrong, you get shot.
Right.
Period.
What did that ICE agent say? Something like, basically he said, you pop off to me verbally, and that will be your last breath.
Yeah, but everybody.
How he's not fired is beyond me. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Different places that you go throughout the world, they can't do that. They have rules set in place where they're not supposed. They have a certain way they act with the public all the time.
Yep. So I was just thinking about one of the grocery stores that we go to is right next to a police station. And so I went to that grocery store today, and the police, sure enough, were standing out in front of the police station, some smoking, some just taking a break, doing whatever they're doing. But you know your old win. All of them look like babies.
Yeah.
I mean, they all look like they're like 19 and
Like they
20
just
years old
graduated
from high school.
Or junior high school. Like, oh my God.
They still look gangly. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, geez. Anyway, so I want to know, is anybody planning to ship their stuff? And if so, who are you using? Do you know yet? So we, there'll be, I'll put the link in the description below. We used a particular company, but they're just really about shipping. They'll ship some boxes and stuff, but really it's about shipping baggages. So what we did is we got, what are they called? Deployment
bags.
Yeah, deployment bags. And
large extra, they're oversized duffel bags.
Basically, and they're rolling and stuff like that, right? And we could fit, I think the place that we used, we could go up to 65 pounds in each bag.
Mm-hmm.
And we had about 8 bags. Does that sound right? 8 or 9, something like that.
No more than 9.
Yeah, we shipped 7. I think we bought an extra one when we went back. So we originally had 8, and we brought one with us that had our sheets, a set of sheets and towels, and then the rest of the sheets and towels were shipped. So we brought one with us, and then the rest of them we shipped. So you've got to plan for that. You've got to budget for that and put that on your timeline. Again, all of this stuff is in the Move Abroad Toolkit. So, yeah, let us know if you're thinking about selling some stuff, or if you're selling everything, or if you're going to ship some stuff. So Allison says, we were married in Alaska. I need to get another one because the one I got is out of date. Apostille. Okay, so they do expire. See, timing. Find out all of this stuff in advance and create your timeline so that you don't waste money like we did. Okay. Every little bit counts. And that first year is going to be, especially if you're moving, that first year is going to be more expensive, even if you're going to do the nomadic thing. That first year is going to be more expensive than any other year. Why? Because you don't know. And you don't know what you don't know. So if you're moving, you don't know all of the cheap places to get stuff. All right, the hookup spot.
Get your hookup spot,
right? You don't know any of that stuff. You rented something sight unseen. Once we got here, we negotiated our rent down. It did go down. And signed a longer lease as a give, right? So that's what we did. We started asking other people who lived here longer, other expats who lived here longer as well. But you know what? Some of them, they're so spoiled. They're like, oh, wait, really? Oh, there's those kind of stores? I'm like, you've been here 6 years, baby. We've also asked locals, right, about different things. And so the first year, you don't know. But as you're there, then you start knowing where to get the best fruits and vegetables at a good price, and where to go get this and where to go get that, right? You're settled in, maybe you're cooking more at home, or the restaurants that have the plate of the day. And here you can get the plate of the day for like €8 or €9, and it includes beer, wine, soft drink, a starter, the plate of the day, and a dessert. Yeah, all day long, y'all. All day long. As a matter of fact, one of the places we go to, their chicken dinner, which is like half a chicken. It took us forever to try this place, even though it smelled good every time we passed by. I kept saying, we got to try this place. We got to try this place. We finally did. And when we first moved here, you get a half a chicken with salad, rice, French fries. Yes, for €5. €5. You can't even get a half a chicken in the United States already, rotisserie chicken. You can't get a half one for 5, much less a meal for €5. They finally raised the price to €6. So now it's €6. And that just happened this year or in the last 12 months. So, then you add, they'll give you a small carafe of wine. It's about this big for like €2.50.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? But see, at first, we were only going to the places that looked like what we were used to, that looked more kind of, not like chains necessarily, but, chains, basically. I'm just being honest. Now, we finally started trying some mom and pop places. And that's when we're like, oh, okay, actually, I do like Portuguese food. It's just, I like Portuguese food, but not all Portuguese food. In other words, some of the mom and pop places are just okay. They're just okay. But some of them are like really, really good. Really, really good. Okay. As Halisi and Rick shared, if you got married in another country, start early. It took us 4 months to get their marriage certificate from Jamaica. Okay. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And I knew I had heard that, but I couldn't remember who told me. So yeah, it was Benita. I can see and hear you just fine. Oh, good. Thank you, Aileen. Watch Expats Portugal on YouTube. They are very informative. Yeah, they're out of Porto. Did anyone attend the 2026 US Expat Conference? Nope. Didn't even know about it. Where was it? Did not even know about it. Okay, I just answered that one. And there's Dennis.
Hey, Dennis.
The US is the wild, wild west. Oh my gosh. I felt a lot safer abroad than in the US. Thank you, Dennis. Right? And thank you for the super chat or super sticker money. As y'all know, all donations go to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. Information is in the description below. I can undo this. So thank you, Dennis, for always showing up.
Thank you.
It looks, I'm going to tell you, it looks crazy from over here, y'all. It really does. It really does. And it seems like the Melon Felon is losing it. Like this whole peace committee or some shit, he's trying to, I mean, the grift is so big and the grift is right there in your face. And he's trying to replace the UN. The only people who have said yes are like strongmen, right? People who don't have true democracy. Those are the only countries that say, yeah, and oh, you got to buy in, right? It's $1 billion to buy into this grift, to this peace committee or whatever the hell. And $1 billion. And oh, Trump is the only one who can say how the money's spent. And he's going to be the chair and the head of it. He thinks we're stupid, and he is playing in our faces, y'all. He is playing in our faces. So, y'all, it is time to go, okay? It's time to go. All right. Health insurance. So, what we were, we heard all of these ridiculous stories before we got here to Portugal. We heard about people paying $30 a month.
Yeah, you could buy it through the bank, which you can.
Right? $30 a month, $50 a month. Those were kids, y'all.
Yeah, those are folks that never think they're going to need a doctor anytime soon.
Exactly. Those were young folks.
The youngsters.
Okay. So we've always had employee-based insurance for the most part, right? I had Obamacare when we first got here, but it was just for what was happening in the United States whenever I went to visit. So it was what it was. I got the cheapest one I could find, because basically it was travel health insurance as far as I was concerned. So, but besides that, we've always had employee-based health insurance. So I'm not sure if we really paid attention to how much it went up year over year, because we were just looking at what got taken out of the paycheck.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when we looked at it that way, I know we were paying a lot, but I didn't really feel a significant increase. Well, now we pay every 6 months a big chunk of money. And when we first moved here, it was about 1,800 euro for the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
It went up to what? Then it went up to 2,000 the next year. And then the next year, it went up to what? Like 2,200, 2,300,
Yeah.
2,300. And I think now it's at 25, 26, or 2,700, something like that. Yeah. Which is still a lot less expensive than in the United States. I understand that, but that's not the point. So these are the things that I expected it to go up. I had budgeted for it to go up, but not like this, because it seems like it's going up 10 to 20% every year, which is crazy. We've looked at other insurance companies and what they were offering for the cost. It was just better just to stay with what we have. Now, on the flip side, as you all know, I had some minor surgery, I don't know, about 3 months ago now, maybe about 3 months ago. And the charge without insurance would have been over 3,000 euro. It was something like 3,400 to 3,800, something like that, euro for the surgery, which is not bad. And I was like, you know what? If the insurance company trips, I'll just pay for it, because that's how important it was. But they didn't. They approved it once the doctors turned in the right forms, and it ended up costing me about 360 euros, 360 as opposed to 3,500 or so, right? So so the insurance just paid for itself.
And I was talking to a friend today on the phone because I might have to have surgery on my knee. And we were talking about, he just had back surgery, serious back surgery. Mm-hmm. His total bill came to 11,000 euro. His out of pocket was 430 euro. That was his cost.
Right.
And he spent a couple of days in the hospital.
So instead of 10,000, paying 400. But regardless of that, regardless of that, what you've got to be asking yourself is, are you budgeting for it to go up like 10, 15, 20%? And ask the people. If you are moving to Portugal, we use a medical concierge service. Were you pointing to something? No. Okay. We use a medical concierge service. That information will be in the description below too. I will add it after we get off. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know what you do in other countries, but this is a very different medical system. It is not better. It is not worse as far as the system itself goes. It is just different. Okay, Benita's shipping. And it's hard to navigate when it's all in another language. So having this medical concierge service, we go to Serenity. We don't get a kickback or anything, but we've been using them ever since we've been here. They helped us find the insurance. Insurance works a lot differently in a place that has universal health care. So, some of your expectations, you've got to ask, don't assume. But I'm going to tell you, I was going back and forth with this insurance company, and I could not figure out, because some stuff just doesn't translate correctly. And I could not figure out what they were asking for or what the issue was. I spent 2.5 to 3 weeks going back and forth. And I'm like, this is crazy. I need to get this surgery. This was to see if I had cancer. So I didn't. Thank God. And I knew I wasn't going to have it. So I wasn't worried, but it's like, I just want to get it over with. I got Serenity involved. I got an email or a call from the hospital within 24 hours. Sometimes you just have to pay. And so if there's a yearly fee, so that's on top of the insurance. There is a yearly fee, and it's not cheap, but it's worth it. I want to say it's about $280 or something per person per year.
Yeah.
Per year. And so when Rick got this long email trying to ask him something about his, the surgery coming up and this and that and the other, and of course, it's never going to translate exactly right, or you're going to have questions. And so the ability for him to just send that over to Serenity and have our case person look at it and say, oh, it's da 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 da, and get the stuff done. You just, you just don't want to be playing around when it comes to health stuff. Now, if we were kids, we might have a different view. If we were still in our 40s, we might have a different view about it. But now, like, I just don't have the patience. I don't have the patience. I don't want to have the patience. I don't want to try to figure it out. I'd rather be doing other things. And that's the thing. When you live someplace where the cost of living is lower than where you're leaving, you're able to pay for services to make your life more easy.
Right. That
you could not necessarily afford to pay for in the United States. See, Costco, a whole Costco chicken for $4.95, rotisserie chicken. Not the last time I was there, not in LA. That's for daggone sure. They were like $9.99, and I think they were $10.99 at Kroger. Yes, the Portuguese meat here really is outstanding, y'all. I now that you guys don't have an FDA, I just refuse to buy any food from the United States. I don't know. What I have been seeing online that's happening with the chicken and the this and the that, and this one man had thrown out a bunch of apples and berries, and he lived out in near open space, lots of deer and things like that. And so he'd thrown out that fruit plus some other things for the deer, and I don't know, he's into wildlife. They ate the other things and left the apples and berries there. And you could know, and this, it wasn't cold. Wherever he was, the sun was still shining. And I didn't see any snow or anything like that. So those apples and berries had been outside for like 4 days. I didn't see no brown stuff. He was like, they're not decomposing. And why didn't none of the animals ate anything? No birds.
Wow. That tells you a whole lot.
I do not know what they're doing to the food in the United States, but I'm going to tell you, you have to be very careful here in Portugal and check especially if you go to the fruiterias and things like that. Check your fruit, check your apples, because you might find a wormhole. You might find a wormhole. Remember those days, folks, when we would find wormholes even at the grocery store because they weren't using all that pesticide crap on the food, right? I just don't know. I just don't know. I see most of the meat that you buy here in Lisbon, you're not going to buy packaged meat. You're going to buy meat from the butcher. You're going to buy your fish from the fishmonger. So I see the cold trucks coming in the morning with basically a whole cow in it. And I walking down, I can see them unloading half a cow and stuff like that. And when I walk back up, go into the butcher shop, they've just chopped up the cow. Okay, they have just chopped it up, and they're about to cut me off a piece. They're about to cut me off a piece. That's how we roll here in Portugal. Okay, I'm marking your questions. Have you guys figured out, for those of you who are at this point, have you figured out what you're going to do about health insurance? Does the place that you're thinking about have any English speaking concierge services or something like that. Are you in the expat Facebook groups? Even though y'all know I was banned from Facebook, so we're still trying to figure that out for our thing. Okay, I'm marking your questions. So we use ASISA, ASISA. That's who we use here in Portugal. And they're fine, you know, they cover what they're supposed to cover. And once you get the right paperwork, they seem to move quickly enough. So MGen,
yeah.
So, okay. So Serenity is not an insurance plan, okay? Serenity is a concierge service with some add-ons. So they help you navigate the system. They also have, their caseworkers are nurses, okay? So they can look at your test results, because test results are given directly to you guys. They're not sent to the doctor. You have to send them to your doctor. Okay, so when I get test results, I usually send them to Serenity, my caseworker at Serenity, and because she's a nurse, and I, then forward it to my doctor, which that person is not necessarily going to get back to me right away, but Serenity will usually get back to you quicker than your doctor, and they can give you a preliminary, you ain't got nothing to worry about or something like that. Okay. They also told me that I was going to have to get a colposcopy before my doctor did. So I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Was Angie saying, yep, it's affecting our health. The US is killing us with our food. That is the reason enough to leave alone. It really is. And it really makes me concerned about our kids and grandkids, y'all. I'm not going to lie. To me, the food situation is just as scary as the ICE situation. Because when I see these videos about the food in the United States, it doesn't look like it's real food, you guys.
Strange looking stuff.
It really doesn't. I mean, yesterday when I opened up our new eggs, I had to wash feathers and chicken poop off of them. Okay, these are free range.
That's a big thing.
The fresh eggs with the poop on it. Like you can't, before you boil eggs, you gotta make sure. Answer that one. You gotta make sure you've washed them. Okay, back to healthcare and stuff like that. But food is all part of that, right? If you can't eat good food, then you can't maintain your health. That's what I'm concerned about. Insurance, I have pre-existing. Okay. So this is something else that y'all need to be asking other expats in. It's not charging. You need to be asking other expats in the Facebook groups and things like that. How it works here in Portugal is that you have to show 3 to 5 years. I would just go for 5. Might as well be conservative with it. Just go for 5. 5 years of proof that you have been covered and that they have been covering this pre-existing all of that time. Okay. And once you do that, then they will usually cover the pre-existing. Now, depending upon what the pre-existing is, there's another thing that could happen where they'll say, okay, well, you're covered, but we're not going to cover the pre-existing for 6 months or a year. They could say that. That's not the end of the world, depending upon what your pre-existing is, okay? That is not the end of the world. As we showed you what the prices are, some of this stuff, you could just pay out of pocket, And especially like for our prescriptions, we could not get our national health number card, until we got our residency cards. And I told y'all, they booked us out 7 months from the day we got the answer, our immigration appointment to get our green cards. They are kind of green, was 7 months out. So that's 7 months where we had to pay full price for prescriptions. It was almost about what the copay is in the United States. Now, not the Medicare copay, because a lot of Medicare copays are almost free. But the regular, like employee-based copays that we used to pay were usually 20 to 40 bucks, depending upon what the prescription was, right? Mm-hmm. And then even more, like with the thyroid stuff, we paid 100 and something. We were paying 100 and something. Well, I guess, but that was for 3 months, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I would say 20 to 40 was the average that we were paying with that expensive ass, because we were paying $6,000 a year as our portion out of the paycheck to the insurance company. $6,000 a year. And this was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. $6,000 a year. And we still had crazy copays. Well, not just to see the doctor, but once you start getting the specialist, now that $40 copay is now $60 or $80. And then, you know, the lab fees and the this and the that and the this and the that. Oh my gosh. So even with employee-based health insurance, I still didn't feel like we were not one accident away from bankruptcy. Now, I know Obamacare was supposed to end that, but they gutted it. And they never really put that part in place like it needed to be. So his insurance is about 50 euros a month, and it's fine. Yeah, I think it just depends on, your age, like,
what your needs are.
What your needs are and what your age is. Because they be trying to kick older people off. Yeah. And they just go by age, not realizing that, and I don't mean this derogatorily, but a lot of the seniors that I've seen here in our neighborhood don't seem as healthy as the average person that age in the United States. Now, they don't seem to be. I bet you their blood work is probably pretty good because they're eating this good food, right? But then they smoke. They smoke a lot more here than they do in the United States, right? So some of these insurance companies, they see 65 years old and they're expecting someone, who is halfway on a cane. And that's just not our reality. So, that may be one of the reasons why we're paying more. Okay, so we answered Angie's. Did we miss any? Let's see. I think we've got, okay. So let's go over here. So Wanda says, what are your thoughts on Manta, Ecuador? I'm thinking about pursuing a visa there. I'm doing my research. I know we have someone in the audience that just made the decision and is living in Ecuador. But I think you're in Cuenca. Did you check out, if you're in, I don't want to call you out. I know who you are, but I don't want to call you out just in case you're on the DL. But if you want to chime in, and if you checked out Manta as well, as Cuenca, they seem to be very happy in Cuenca, Wanda. And we're saying, when we were doing the behind the scenes with the Utopian, with our Black Utopia members, channel members, they were talking about going out to breakfast and, having a fresh juice and fresh squeezed juice. Oh my God, you guys. The juice outside the United States is on another level. You think you know what good juice is. You don't know what good juice is. You do not know what good juice is. But anyway, so they had fresh juice, they had coffee, and they had their entree, and it was $10 for the two of them. I was like, sign me up. I like the food. I like the foods. So yeah, if you're in, I told you, we're crowdsourcing this one, right? Okay, we're gonna all help each other out. But Manta did show up on a couple of our lists as a place for Americans to move to, Black Americans to move to, by the way. But we haven't been there. So I can't give you firsthand knowledge, but I know that there's people here who are checking out Ecuador and somebody who already lives there. These idiots need to move to the US. Those idiots. Yeah, the ones who are talking about, who are tripping about Muslims and Africans and all that, they need to just go to the US and we'll all move out of there, because they can, all the hateful people can go live on an island, so they can all be there together and hate upon each other. And we can just get the hell out their way and let them just hate each other. The ICE agent said, "You raise your voice and I will erase your voice." That's what it was. He should be fired. What kind of world are we living in? Could you imagine if an ICE agent said that shit while Barack Obama was in office? They'd be trying to impeach Obama. They would try to find a way to impeach Obama over that stuff. Some bullshit. Anyway, now that we are in Ecuador, we're noticing how on guard. Okay, so Biz Help Guru, let a sister know if you checked out Manta. We're noticing how on guard and tense we always are. See, y'all? That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If you can afford, find a way to take 2 months and go to one of these other countries. Stay 1 month in one city, 1 month in another city, right? Because it's less expensive to get the Airbnb for the whole month, right? Go to the grocery store, live there for 2 months. Feel the stress come off of your body. Feel the difference in the vibe. When I say vibe, it's a little bit more spiritual than that. As we said, there is a low-level rage that you can feel in the United States. As soon as we land, it's palpable. It is palpable. And that's why there's always some nonsense going on. I remember when we're talking about, we were at in Coimbra last year for their graduation. Or maybe it was 2024. I don't remember. I think it was 2024 for their graduation. Them kids were lit, y'all. They were lit. But it wasn't the angry kind of drunk that I see in the United States, where it feels like you're just shy of a bar brawl, right? Just on the verge of a bar brawl, like just one word. And I can't tell you how many times I've been around white folks and they've been drunk, and then they start popping off with their racist shit, right? But these kids, on the other hand, were so, I love you, doing stuff like that. They were looking out for each other. It was more of a celebratory and less like, I'm trying to escape something. That's what it is in the United States. It seems like they drink to try to escape something, not just celebratory. So, it's just y'all. You don't know until you leave. And a 1 week, 2 week vacation does not do it, because you'll think that's just vacation mode. Well, it's a vacation. That's why I was relaxed. It takes at least 3 weeks for your body, for the equilibrium to start recalibrating. Talk to your US doctors and let them know the city and country you're moving to if you're getting treatments. I'm getting shots in my back, and my doctor let me know I can continue treatment in Bangkok. Let me tell you, if there's some research to be done, Greta is going to do it. She gonna have the knowledge. She is going to have the knowledge. But yes, she's absolutely right. And also for your prescriptions, it may be a different brand. And so, I don't trust US doctors. Yeah, I don't trust US doctors any more than I trust the doctors here. But you just want to know in advance so that you're not being surprised. So if you take high blood pressure medicine or whatever have you, whatever you're taking, ask your doctor what are, do they have it in the country that you're moving to? And is it the same brand, or what would that make a difference with your treatment, et cetera, et cetera. So, Rick, has it made a difference for you having to switch brands besides the dosage stuff?
Fine.
So there you go. I mean, the most important thing is that, you feel fine and that it's still doing what it's supposed to do for your body, right? 2026 U.S. Expats Financial Conference online was held February 16th. Oh, I did hear about that through the 19th. I saw this online, but did not attend. It came across, but by the time it came across, it was already in the middle of it. And, it's kind of hard for us right now because, we're doing the Side Hustle Challenge. Side Hustle Challenge cohort meets every single Saturday. And then all during the week, I'm looking at their pieces of their business plan and giving them feedback. And so it's kind of hard to concentrate on a lot of other things, especially when we have such a busy social life. The some of the menses had was that just last night? Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the menses had a game night last night. Action VJ, do you want to chime in? I heard there was lots of yakety smackety being talked because Black men cannot get together without talking yakety smackety. You know that, right? You know that. All right, I'm on Medicare. My Part B is 202 plus Plan N. What in the hell is Plan N? Is 297. Oh my gosh! So you're paying like $500 a month for Medicare? Oh yeah, this is what she says, which is over $500 a month. I guess I could have kept reading. I didn't have to do the math in my head. I would leave this country not only because I hate it here, but because I can't afford these prices. I don't know what Plan N is, but that's crazy. That is crazy, especially when you consider that the average Social Security person or person on Social Security gets an average amount of about $1,500 to $1,700 a month, and $500 of it is going to healthcare, to just in case. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We're still paying for Part B, right? Because our understanding is if you cancel it and then you need it again for whatever reason, that there's penalties and blah, blah. So that's how I got on this. Can I use Imgen and Serenity, right? So Serenity is not health insurance. Serenity is a concierge service.
Imgen is your health insurance.
Imgen is a health insurance. Serenity does not only have nurses on staff, but they also have a few doctors on staff. Okay, so for simple checkups and things like that, if your doctor's busy, you can just go to Serenity and pay and get something done faster. So that's there, and that's Serenity. As I said, we pay the money. I grit it, I bear it, I pay it because they have paid for themselves too. Just getting my stuff approved and getting it on track within 24 hours, it, was worth it.
They do everything. They make your appointments.
Yeah. Yep. They make your doctor's appointments for you, so you don't have to try and navigate that.
You need to do that
system.
Yeah.
They do it. So yeah, it's invaluable. Growing up, I remember going to the fish markets and the butchers, right? And it's funny because as I was saying, Portugal so much, no, Europe in so many ways, because the butchers and the fishmongers have been in every single country that we've been to. Yep. So all this packaged crap, that's an American thing. It may be a Canadian thing. I don't know. Don't remember seeing as many in the UK. But then again, that could have something to do with where we were staying. There was like consulates and stuff around where we were staying, plus a lot of hotels around where we were staying. So, but yeah, by and large, and it is so fresh. It is so fresh. And they cut it just how you want it. And I saw him sitting there and just cutting all the fat off of it for me and stuff like that. You guys, I'm telling you, it's good eating. Good eating, right? I need global health care plan that includes the USA, so I don't have to pay for a separate USA plan, which will be as expensive as rent per month. When you find one, CK, let us know. Let us know. Here's the thing. Once you retire, Obamacare still goes off of income. And California is still pretty good. So I would check to see, I would go into whatever it's called in California, go into the system and play around and see if your income is, whatever your pension is or whatever, see what it would cost. Because I have not found a plan that makes sense for the United States. I haven't, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So you need to, let us know. Let the community know if you find that. Travel health insurance, I would have to pay for per day, would I pay for 5 to 7 days, someplace else, or more. I mean, it was so crazy. The price was so crazy. I think we were going to be back there for a month. And a wedding we had to go to, a birthday, And it was going to be thousands. Just for that month. So let us know if you find something. I have not seen anything that makes sense. And that's why I say you might be better off playing around and seeing what Obamacare would cost once you are retired. Now, while you're still making money, I know how that goes. So we say, I still got to the butcher and fishmonger as well as the shoe cobbler. Yep, Brooklyn has it all. That makes sense, of course. The cost is mad different. Yes, we have plenty of shoe cobblers here. We saw plenty in Italy, in Spain. Don't really remember about Thailand or South America, not where we were staying. Then they sprayed a guy on a scooter. What? They bumped into and threatened another attorney who was helping the attorney they sprayed. Wait, what? What are you talking about, Rhonda? It's a 3-parter. In Santa Barbara, ICE agents slammed and detained a 26-year-old because they thought he slashed the tires of one of their cars. Then they sprayed and knocked down a criminal defense attorney. Oh my gosh, who was trying to talk to them about what they were doing. They were choking the kid out. Then they sprayed a guy on a scooter they bumped into. Oh my God. And threatened another attorney who was helping the attorney they sprayed. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. I only get $1 off healthcare in Cali. I'm currently looking at $1,500 plus monthly, even if you're not bringing in any income, CK. Oh, God. Y'all, it's time to go. It is time to go, okay? It is time to go. All right. So we talked about health insurance. The last thing that I wanted to bring up, and did anybody I didn't see anything from folks talking about what you learned in hindsight. Oops, I wish I had known, right? All this double authentication, and what are you going to do with your US number? When we moved here, Google Fi seemed like a good choice. Some people turn it off and on, and there's a way that you can keep your number and turn it off and on. I can't do that because my mom will be calling me. And she's not going to be calling a foreign number. She's not going to be using WhatsApp. She's just not. She's got flip phone. Flip phone. So she ain't going to be doing that. Google Fi is not that good of a deal anymore, in my opinion. That's number one. Number two, it doesn't play well with Apple phones. So I don't suggest it. So we are still looking for something. And I guess some people that we know went to Google Voice. Yeah. Some people we know went to Google Voice, and which is the free one, and they were able to port their numbers over to Google Voice, because I can't change my phone number. My mom will remember it. And we're still able to do the double authentication with their banks and things like that. So let us know if you have already moved, what you've done with your US phone number. I know some people we know have given up their US phone number, and they just don't have one anymore. And they worked with their banks to get the double authentication to do it with the foreign number. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that as long as my mom's alive. So that's not an option for me. And there may be other reasons that you want to keep your US phone number. So some people that we know have done Google Voice, and they couldn't get their double authentication to work. So I would say check with your bank first before you make that move. But I would love to hear, what you guys are doing about your US phone number. And you know, I think now there's some lower cost options that we can do, but we just haven't made that move, and we need to make that move, because they're just taking too much of our money for not enough return on our investment. So, so let's talk about this, and then we'll let you guys go. So CK asked, does the cobbler make custom-made shoes? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they make shoes from scratch. Isn't that amazing? I just think that we have just lost so much with all of this fast fashion and mass production. And you know, that's fine, but there's something to be said about custom. I just have to say, and I don't own any custom made shoes, but you know what? Before I leave this earth, I'm definitely going to. What is going on in this? You know, y'all know that I knew this was going to happen. So we've been saying it, right, since the summer of 2024. What I am surprised about is how quickly it happened, how quickly he moved to put military type people on the ground, how brazenly he's killing people, and how everybody seems to be taking a knee. That's like, I guess I expected a little bit more resistance than what I'm seeing. But I'm not surprised. I'm sure there's no Black people that are surprised, right? Well, there's a few, because some people still get on our channel talking about we're fear-mongering, or we shouldn't be listened to, we're fools because everybody knows we shouldn't vote for Democrats. What I have to say is Black women be knowing stuff. We be knowing. And I think people need to be listening to Black women. That's what I think. Is there anyone here with Costa Rica residency, single woman? Yeah, I'm not sure. Let us know if there's anybody in the chat or in the comments, if you're watching from the future, who is either considering Costa Rica or already lives in Costa Rica. Now, Danielle, Start Abroad, which I will put in the video description, they live in Costa Rica, and they can help you with your residency there and give you all the information. You can get a consultation with them, with Zach and Anna. So Give me a minute and I'll put that stuff in the description after we let you guys go. Okay. Maria asks, how is the weather today in Portugal? It's snowing in New York and we are expecting 12 to 18 inches. Aren't you all ready to start boycotting winter? Especially if you live in one of them snow states like we used to. You ready to start shoveling snow, sweetheart? Shit, that's what he was gonna say. That's what he was gonna say. That was the one thing. He was like, I'm so tired of shoveling. And I was like, oh, but see, I was very rarely out there. So I could not say anything about it because it'd have to be an emergency for me being out there. I mean, look, we got a snow remover machine. Snowblower.
I was
And
looking
still,
at cousin TJ's his post he put on Facebook. He just came back from Asia. He just came back from like a month-long trip to Bangkok and China and all these different places. Got back home
to snow.
And it was frozen over because he was gone for a month and nobody cleared it.
Gosh. Oh gosh.
That's right. I know you wish you was back in Asia now.
I know, because I know all of those places are warm. They are warm. They're near the equator and they are warm all year long. All year long. Okay, I looked into it and T-Mobile is now like Google Fi. The plan is actually affordable. Yeah, and Google Fi piggybacks on T-Mobile.
I actually thought T-Mobile was a foreign company. I thought it was out of Germany or something.
Is the weather better there since there were floods recently? Yeah, it's been warm.
Yeah, it's been clear.
It was almost 70 degrees today.
Yeah.
So
Past couple days.
yeah, thankfully we've been getting sun and stuff. Because I was about tired of the rain, y'all. The only thing that I can say is the first summer that we were here, there were major wildfires. So at least this rain should hopefully decrease the chances of, wildfires and stuff again in the summertime. I wish I'd known about the particulars, would have saved boatloads of money. Yeah, y'all, that's why we suggest that you get in community, like, the Utopian community, that you schedule a one-on-one. It's penny wise and pound foolish not to get help. It really is. I know it seems like, oh, there's the list. All I got to do is grab all the stuff from the list. It never works out that way. Now, it did for Mexico. But it would not have necessarily on the Mexico side. So we did hire somebody on the Mexico side, and I'm going to tell you something that we probably wouldn't have had a problem with anyway, but would not have known. And that is, don't be walking up in there sleeveless.
Mm-mm.
Don't be walking up in there acting like you about to go to the beach.
Disrespectful.
It's disrespectful. And we saw people get turned away. We saw these white folks get turned. And they're like, they don't care.
Flip-flops and
yeah.
Flip-flops and shorts and
a cover-up, basically just a bathing suit cover-up. It's like
no.
This is a place of business, and you're coming in here acting like you're pulling up to the all-inclusive resort.
Straight from the beach.
And they got turned away. Right? So if you're trying to do this thing, whether it's you're getting your money straight or coming up with a plan on how to get out of Dodge, talk to us. All right. We offer one-on-one coaching. That information is in the description below right now. And I know that it has been put in the chat as well, either by Action VJ or Greta or both. So, okay, answered that one. Flip phone is the best phone, actually, especially with all the new tech the police and ICE are using. You're onto something there, because we know they are tracking folks. Right? And they're listening, you guys. These people are out of control, and they're playing in our faces, and we're allowing it to happen. Please call your senators. I call mine. I email. I put it in about the oops. I realized that things change, and to get it done now, yep, things change. And although I was advised it only takes 1 to 2 weeks to get a scheduled appointment, that was then, and this is now. Right? Also, for those of you who are trying to get citizenship or permanent residency through bloodlines, that takes a minute. So go the easy route at the same time you're trying to go the hard route, okay? Because the people that we've known that have gotten, it's taken years. It's taken years. They got it, but it's taken years, okay? And so it's getting a normal residency visa is usually a lot faster than getting residency via bloodline. With the changes going on, to be safe, I will keep my current phone plan and add an international plan. Yeah. Yeah, we got to find a way the cheapest way possible to keep that US phone. But yeah, it does make things easier. Would an eSIM card work? Is that an option to keep your phone number? Yeah, we're using an eSIM. Mm-hmm. It's not the eSIM, it's the carrier. That's the issue. And Google Fi just does not play well with iPhones. So we bought new phones that accommodate 2 SIM cards. Very good. So we kept our US numbers and have a Portuguese number on one phone. Yep. Our phones have 2 phone numbers. We have our US phone number and we have our Portugal phone number on that one phone. And so somebody can call me on my Portugal number and then somebody can call me on the US number and it's come in as call waiting, just like that. Just like that. Thank you, Will Bro.
Thank you, Will Bro.
Oh, thank you. Hey, just stop by to donate to the fund. Salute. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That is so, so kind. And I know our community thanks you as well. Right? Y'all know this goes to the scholarship fund. If you need a scholarship, just send us an email. The information, you can find our email address on our website, ourblackutopia.com, or you can find it on our YouTube page under About. Okay, go to our YouTube page and look under About, and you can get our email address. All you have to do is put scholarship in the subject line. You don't have to give us a sob story about why you need a scholarship. We're going to assume you are a utopian. So I already know you have integrity, right? And so we're just going to assume if you're asking for it, you need it. Okay?
Sometimes it might take a little longer because a lot of people are asking stuff.
A lot of people are asking for scholarships, and right now we have a waiting list. So, let's say, okay, Jackie, we did that one, and we did Daniel's, we did Jackie's, we did CK's. Okay, I think we've done it, y'all. I think we have done it. Yeah. Be careful about the phone stuff, y'all. Really be careful. Contact them, getting closer. Okay, good. Good. Albany is getting 4 to 10 inches. Y'all, it's time to start boycotting winter.
I'm telling you.
Okay? If you need to figure out how to make money without, yes, business casual, Allison. If you need to figure out how to make money that does not make you stay in one place, right? Making money without borders, so to speak. We can show you how, okay? And it does not, and here's the thing, it takes so much less money. I think it was the Yarrows I was watching the other day. They're in Vietnam and they've been there for a couple of months. So at this point, and they're probably gone by now. At this point, they said their monthly, and they were living in an Airbnb, y'all. And they said they were going out to eat frequently. And still their monthly nut was about $1,100. Okay. So obviously Portugal is more expensive than that. but it does not have to be, excuse me, it doesn't have to be triple that. You know, maybe double. But where can you live well off of $24,000 to $30,000 a year? So you don't have to make as much money, y'all. You don't have to make as much money. That's the thing. And there's so many ways to make money. You guys will be surprised. And here's the thing, you should start now. You should start now, just as we did. We started our YouTube channel, and we've always had a side hustle. So we just kind of morphed it. It's just been morphing over the decades that we've been married. But we started our YouTube channel 3 months before we left. And the good thing about it is we were building community before we even left. So when we landed and we went to our first little meetup with Black in Portugal, it was a karaoke night. People were coming up to us and saying, "We watch your YouTube channel." Y'all, did we even have 1,000 subscribers? No, we didn't even have 1,000 subscribers. We didn't even have 1,000 subscribers, but we were already making money because that's all you need, right? Especially if you're going to teach something and you're credible, people will pay you to learn that thing, okay? And we can teach you how to do that. You know, we want all of you all to be able to be financially free from having to work for the man, having to clock in. You might still have to bring income in, but we don't want you to have to go clock in and then ask for permission to, you know, to take a vacation. You want to ask for permission to be in Vietnam, ask for permission to be in Colombia or Ecuador or Costa Rica, right? Or Jamaica, right? Or South Africa. No, just go. You got the money, you can go, right? That's how life should be, especially as we get older. Like, look, life is short. Life is short. And the amount of time that you have with a totally healthy body is even less. So don't get stagnated by fear. And don't settle for a mediocre rest of your life when you could have the time of your life. And you don't have to be James Baldwin or Tina Turner to do this thing, right? I think there's enough of us out here now that you guys have probably figured that out, right? Don't fall for the okie doke that the United States is the best country and or get so emotionally connected to some of the norms in the United States that are really not even serving you, right? They're really not even serving you, but it's comfortable, right? I don't know how I can act if I can't see my games. Well, you know, you can buy the packages here. People have, you know, those packages to see all the games from the United States, if that's what you choose to do, right?
Just gotta watch
But
it.
you gotta watch
Tape it or watching it
at odd times.
hours.
Yeah, right. But like, is that important in the big scheme of things? Is it really that important? And if so, why? Like, is it more important than your health? Is it more important than your freedom, than your peace of mind? Because I don't know how you put a price tag on that stuff, right? As Sister Girl said, you know, being in, where was she? Ecuador, I think, for a certain amount of time and feeling the release of stress. How do you put a price on that? How do you put a price on that? How do you put a price on being able to walk past a cop without the hairs on the back of your neck standing up? See, poor white folks think that they don't have privilege because these are the things that you cannot quantify. But it's lovely to have the privilege to not be born suspect. It really, really is. It's lovely to have the privilege of not being policed by palm-colored folks. I have a client who lives in an international country, not too favored by the US, okay? And we can never talk via my Google Voice number. We use my personal phone number. Interesting. Interesting. What caregiving abroad tips do you have? So, if you're talking about elder care for yourself, you should start planning now. You may find that you can hire people a lot more easily and affordably in your new country to help you. Single people, I've heard, are doing like a Golden Girls thing, stuff like that in the future, right? Assisted living homes and nursing homes and things like that are not as prolific here in Portugal. Now, I don't know how they are in other countries, but they're not as prolific here in Portugal. However, there are plenty of nurses. The medical system is better than the United States. And so hiring someone to come in and help and having a nurse that comes in every so often and stuff like that could be in your budget. It really could be, okay? For instance, now, I understand that there's a difference between a nurse and a housekeeper, but I'm just giving you some pricing. Our housekeeper charges €8 per hour. I pay her €10 per hour. And it usually takes her 3 to 4 hours, depending upon how messy we are that week. And so I'm paying somewhere between 35 and €45 per week or per time she's here. In Denver, for the same amount of space, because we did not have her clean the basement, nor did we have her clean the top level. It was just the main common area and then one bathroom upstairs, the hallway bathroom upstairs. That's it. And that was $140 4 years ago. 4 years ago. I just called her again to clean out one of the rooms for our rental in Denver. And that was about $200. Now, I heard the room was kind of nasty, but still, one bedroom and the bathroom, $200. Okay, see the difference? So I don't want to overpay, but I don't want to pay I want to pay something that I find to be respectful within the context of what the pay scale is here in Portugal. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you might find that things are a lot easier to plan for when you're living in a place that has a lower cost of living, right? Especially if you've already been planning for that higher cost of living. All right. Our Black Utopia, what do you think about Kraken? Was told getting in now is the best way to make a good investment. I don't know what Kraken is. And I don't know about getting in now. So when it comes, if this is we don't invest, we don't try to time the market. So if this is an IPO or something like that, we don't try to time the market, Francis. So, but yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what Kraken is. Yes, find your joy. Find your joy. All right, y'all.
It's crypto.
Oh, crypto. Yeah. I don't invest in anything that I don't understand, and I don't understand crypto. And it seems to me, if it's something that the melon felon thinks is a good idea, then it's probably not a good idea. I do know that a lot of money launderers like to use crypto. I do know that Epstein also liked to use crypto. And a lot of the not drug trafficking, but sex trafficking money was paid through crypto. We invest in things that actually create value. And I don't see how crypto creates value. So consequently, we don't invest in it. And I don't like to time the market. That's gambling. That's not investing. So with that, I think we're gonna let you go. I really hope that today, what came out of this is knowing that it's really important to get into community so that you can ask these questions. That's number one. Number two, it's really important that you have a plan and that you execute the plan, that you ask all of the questions, that you don't assume, right? And that you create a timeline so that you can time what you need to get when you need to get it. That's really important, okay? And so if you didn't take anything else out, if you forget about well, first of all, you can watch this again, right? But we're talking about sequencing, the timing, the order in which you do things, the document flow, the cash flow, all right? Because we're not like, this is not just about changing locations. You're changing systems. You're changing whole systems, right? The system that you were used to for a system that you have to adapt to. It's new to you and could be in a different language. Now, none of that should thwart you. What it should do is just motivate you to make sure you got your plan straight, all right? And you have your what ifs answered, at least a good portion of them, all right? All right, so hopefully we've saved some folks some money today.
Sorry about all the earlier issues.
I know. I don't know what is happening. We're going to have to check out the video card or something or the network card for the other computer, because it's obviously not our internet if this computer was working fine. So I don't know. Anyway, if you want to become a member of the channel, we would love to have you be a part of the community. As we said, we get together every single week before we go live on Sunday. About an hour before, I drop a little note in the post with the link to the private Zoom. So you can chitty chat, ask your questions to us while we're getting ready. If you are a Utopian legend, then you can come on air with us every other Thursday, and we discuss, the topics of the day, moving abroad, money, et cetera, et cetera. So come on, you can ask us questions, get your questions answered, and all of that every other Thursday with the Utopian legends. Our meetup. Oh, y'all, I am so excited. I'm so excited about what we're going to be doing this year. Okay, I really, really am. We are planning. I'm just waiting for the agreement from one of the vendors, and then we're going to get these tickets on sale. But for those of you who have forgotten, our annual meetup is always, always, always during the Juneteenth week. Okay, this year that's going to be Monday the 15th and Tuesday the 16th. But the activities actually start the Thursday before and go all the way through Juneteenth. The paid the part that you're paying for is on the 15th and the 16th. That's the agreement that I'm waiting for and all of that. But if you come, you get to hang out with us for days on end, okay? Because we're doing a lot of free stuff, and we're going to show you around Lisbon during the festivals and all of that stuff, take you to our sangria spot. So when we talk about Friday sangria, you know where we're talking about. Hang out by the river and see the water. It's the bay, actually. It's so gorgeous. So all of the things. So if you're coming, if you need more information, go to our website, ourblackutopia.com, and or into the description below, and you will get the information for the meetup. You can also sign up so that you know exactly when we start selling the tickets. All right. And I guess with that, we can let them go. All right. We'll see you on Thursday, y'all. Bye.